minister and the I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines. Through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentary. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only.
Mr. President, my people are on the economic stability and
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Chizi Nyomasla. Chizi Nyomasla is a regular on Open Conversation and a political analyst. Good morning, Chizi, and welcome.
And thank you for having me. Good morning, Port Harcourt.
And on to the story. Martin Amehule-led River State House of Assembly has taken steps to address the disturbances that occurred on October 7, 2024 in some local government council secretariats. During its 70th legislative sitting of the second session on Monday, the House Committee on Public Complaints and Petitions, led by its chairman, Enemy George, presented an interim report on the disturbances and appealed for more time to conclude their assignment and was granted the House. In a related development, the lawmakers said they had taken a major step towards strengthening democratic institutions in the state.
Wherein, both the executives and legislatures and judiciary will have, the commission will begin to run so that nobody is. But for me, that is actually what democracy is. You don't need to re-emphasize that. The reason we have the legislature is so that they can call to order, except that it's not captured in the previous one. Because that's actually what is supposed to happen. That they have their oversight function, to be able to monitor whatever parastatal MDAs there are in the state, as in our instance, of course, MDAs are doing, and then know what to do. Also, the laws are there. The legislators
of inquiry to investigate the events that occurred on October 7 in certain local government council areas.
Yes, you see, I will both tell you that one of the things that have faulted our legislators, especially both national and here, is the lack of research on certain things. If not, maybe the lacuna you have found now would have been found earlier. But again, we are human beings, and sometimes something causes another thing. There's a cause and effect on certain things. When you bring up something and they begin to know that, oh no, if you begin to implement this thing the way it takes, there might be certain...
You say you send to the governor, for example, if the governor refuses to append the signature to it, you recall it and you are passed. No. We must be able to interrogate what is happening. As far as I'm concerned, personal opinion here is that this is motivated by political scores. And you are saying that you want to make it a tripartite. What tripartite?
Meaning that the assembly will have a say,
yes,
the executive will have a say, and
yes,
the commission.
What commission? Who appoints that commission?
The executive, of course.
And so what say does...
Screened and
by
the legislature.
See. It's like saying that let's have another body after the House of Assembly has done its own duty. And let's have another body that will also rely on. No. Whoever that the governor appoints and all still goes back to the legislatures.
What if the legislature fails to approve of the person's appointment? Will the governor override the decision of the legislature?
See, democracy has been created in such a way that one person does not have the final say on all things. Even in an emergency case, certain powers were given to the executive with a time bound on it. It doesn't say gives you an infinity powers and continue. No. I'm saying that it's like saying INEC. The executive appoints INEC. Whether the independence you call INEC, the executive appoints them. And when it comes to the issue, it goes to the National Assembly. They themselves now try to ask questions, do all those kind of things before they give the final thing that the tripartite thing cannot work. What else that you want to now make it as a tripartite? What I think they are doing here is to say that they has their own work to do, the governor has his own work to do, and they also cannot relate. That's the meaning. They also with the person so appointed to head some of this inquiry. And I think it is not so. That inquiry to the executive, which is the governor or any other persons that is supposed to take care of that. But to now say that you are going to create a tripartite team where you are sharing the power of the executive, how? The executive is to appoint, yours is back to the executive. But to now say that there will be a tripartite, no, it will not work. And I think
when
that
you say it will not work, let me.
you want to share the power of the executive.
Hold on. The legislature makes the law.
Yeah, sure.
For the state.
He makes the law.
Does the legislature?
But it doesn't rest. There's a caveat. It doesn't rest there. It doesn't mean that because you a bill and all of that, and so the law has been made. No. Democracy is not so. It said return back to the executive. With the 1999 constitution and all of that, and he returns back. That is how the marriage is supposed to be. That part of what the governor would appoint, and you will not share tripartite what to that person.
Now, I think to a large extent they have not streamlined it to reportage. Like after the inquiry is done, they are going to report to the legislature, the governor. Let's get it clear.
No.
Hold on.
Okay.
What they are saying so far, for now,
it was like tripartite, you know, which may look to me like it's a repetition of what their rights are already. For instance, when they say there's a tripartite arrangement appointing commissioners, look at what I understand by that. Commissioners and sends the list to the assembly. You see the functions of tripartite, and then the assembly approves them, and then the governor inaugurates them, and the assembly also do have an override, what's it called? Oversight function, where they go to monitor what you are doing, whether it's in line, and then come back. For me, that's tripartite enough.
Okay.
Now, maybe what they are saying in this instance is that it's unlike the Commission of Inquiry. In the Commission of Inquiry, the members do not go through the assembly. It is always
the governor at the discretion of the governor.
Discretion of the governor.
Right.
I think that's what they are saying. Because, for instance, if you look at all the appointments, like what Daniel was saying, what I hold is that we shouldn't always be reacting. We should seek them. Like, again, let me ask this question. If you're going to put up such Commission of Inquiry, you know, everything, let me tell you, all the MDAs, making laws, it may just come around. We shouldn't have given an instance here where a GMD or something, GMD of NMPC, you know, a GMD of NMPC, because he was so close to the president, did a memo that almost took the office of the duties of the Minister for State.
And later was appointed.
And then later, at that office there, he was not appointed, and then he was looking for that duty and couldn't see. So we should also look beyond the person that occupies the place and do the right thing.
All right. To a large extent, if I get what you're saying, it is actually a beautiful thing if properly done and streamlined, and there should be a public hearing to enable Rivers people and the residents of Rivers State
have conversation
around it and have a say and have input.
Yeah, sure.
Now, however, the fault that both of you, or the reservations that both of you have over this, even though Daniel has extra reservations about, you know, overreaching. Daniel feels that the House of Assembly wants to overreach into the powers of the governor. And but both of you, the major concern is it is reactionary. And you think that this particular move by the Assembly is premised on the judicial panel of inquiry on the local government arson in Rivers State. So probably moving forward, like you said, it is not, it cannot, you can't turn back the hands of time when it comes to implementation of the law. Could it be that they are doing this as a preventive step for future panel of inquiries?
That's why we need to question all of this.
Because it's a long time. This crisis is still
there will be crisis. As long as we are in this world, there will be crisis. You know, crisis must come.
River State's own is a peculiar.
You are breaking
every day.
They are. It's
something must give rise
to why they have.
Tony Okocha led All Progressive Congress in Rivers State on Saturday held its party congresses and described it as very peaceful despite a court order restraining the party from conducting any congress. Atn gathered that the congress was monitored by the Independent National High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, presided over by Justice G.V. Obomanu, had on Wednesday given an order of interim injunction restraining the APC from conducting its congresses. The court explained that the order followed a suit filed by 3 aggrieved members of the party in the state, Okudili Ndike, Peace Oganu, Samuel Uchebule, and others, government area. to monitor the process. According to the statement, which was backed with photo clips, Okocha arrived at the council after casting his vote in his local government area in Obiabo. The statement noted that Okocha commended the peaceful conduct of the Congress, congratulated those who were elected, and charged them to see their victory as a call for more work, loyalty, and dedication to the party. Okocha thanked the leaders of the party in Ikwere local government for coming out in large numbers to participate in the Congress. The statement said party stakeholders from Ikwere local government who were present at the local government Congress included the State Publicity Secretary of APC Rivers State, Chibuike Ikenga, former member representing Ikwere Emoha Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives, Chidi Wihioka, Ezemoye Ezekiel Amadi, Dr. Anosike Joseph Oduwa, Emma Amadi, Dr. Steve Wogo, Chizi Nyomasila, Obinna Ekem, Charles Wobodo, among others. Chizi, your name was mentioned.
Why that emphasis? Even when you were saying it, why that emphasis on Chizi Nyomasila?
Chizi, your name was mentioned.
Yes, of course.
Now, Chizi.
I know that she has a privilege. You are here now. So.
Because he needs to answer. He needs to answer to this. Chizi, was there a court order restraining that Congress from holding?
Let me.
There was a court order. Why did the APC go ahead? Chizi, why were you present despite the court order at that Congress?
So it's no longer with the
APC.
APC.
A direct question.
Why? It's no longer why
Both
APC was there.
and yourself. Go ahead, Chizi.
Lorisa, I'm a law-abiding citizen of this country.
All right.
And I know when law speaks.
Okay.
Party mechanism. The Congress of a political party starts from the word. And as soon as the word Congress, you cannot stop that word Congress. They should go ahead while your matter is in the court. Now, a court of appeal by hierarchy is higher than a high court of this federal government. The party, because I'm just a member of the party.
You are in the State Executive Council of APC.
No. Let me say.
Are you not in the SEC council?
I am not. No.
Are you not in the SEC?
No, when you say SEC,
are you in the SEC?
Just hear me now.
Are you in the SEC?
Excuse me.
Yes or no answer?
I am a member of SEC by status quo.
All right.
Not by election.
Okay.
Now, if you were a member of the State Working Committee before, you were a member of the SEC. Not that you or the party will come and say, why would I be arrested by a community? Eyes of the law, they don't even exist.
Now, talking about the jurisdiction in the first instance, let's go back to, because I base my conversation on the law and the precedents in court. Now, let's go back to the recent local government judgment by Appeal Court. Appeal Court set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court because the Federal High Court delved into state affairs. And that the first order stopping the Congress, the first court order stopping the Congress that came that APC had to go to Appeal Court to get a stay of execution of that order. Was it from a state high court?
No, Federal High Court.
Federal High Court.
Yes.
All right, very well. However, from what you have explained and what you have said, APC Rivers State arrogated judicial powers onto
itself
and decided that the state high
didn't arrogate judicial powers. I never said so. But let me also
my explanation. That's
no.
What
Let me explain. Let me explain these things. I have told you number one about the,
that still brings me to the fact that these are different prayers. The first prayer that went to Federal High Court.
I'm bringing up their own prayers.
It was an entirely different prayer from this one.
This one said. That's what I'm saying now. This one said.
And you mentioned that an appeal court had vacated the initial order, so that order is subsisting. It doesn't subsist.
No, that is done.
This new matter.
No, let me tell you now.
The
new matter they have now is that you mentioned something about the Court of Appeal, nullifying the other one, so that I don't just allow it pass without just saying something about it.
Go ahead.
The one that the Court of Appeal, of course, we are a law-abiding people, and then we obey the law. The Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal has said, "Oh no, that the air that it was a state matter." And then you are looking at, as much as I do not want to take up the work of the Supreme Court, because we're in Supreme Court on that issues, but just on the Court of Appeal. And we are not part of them that will always say, no, the court are rubbish because of something. But let me just question that. Do you see that if you used to look at that and this instance, I have told you, at that one, INEC does just one work, giving them the data to hold the election. Police is for security. But in this case, INEC monitors election just like RISEC monitors a local government election. So INEC is not passive. But here, INEC is a very integral member of this. Without an INEC, there won't be election. There won't be congresses in the first instance. So, but in the other one, the only thing is that if INEC does not give you data, the question would be, which data did he use to do that? So in this argument, when they now said that they didn't buy form, that they bought form, I don't want to know whether they bought form or not. If we play the clip of that thing, what was announced is, if you had ever bought form, whether illegally or legally, that's the word we used. Wherever you had bought form from, present the form and come and line up. Wherever, whether you went to the national to buy form, because if
but they said the form was not given to them. They paid, but
they paid to where?
The form was not
they
given
paid to where?
them.
See,
it is now. It is now.
No. Let me tell you something now.
The burden of proof
lies on the court.
Exactly. No, not even the court. The burden of the proof
lies on them.
On the accuser.
Yes.
Now they are the ones to present, and it is at they present it to the court now because it's a matter of litigation. So it's not for you to. They are saying there is no form to even present and stand in queue for the election to happen.
Can I tell you something?
They were disenfranchised by the party.
The man, the publicity secretary who just addressed this, I'm accusing him personally. He came with a receipt of the payment of this thing, only receipt. He came with a receipt and said, look, I bought this thing with a receipt. Because, you know what, let me tell you something. You can stay in the confidence of your house and buy a form if it's just transfer and pay for it. He came with a receipt. Okay, fine. If you came with the receipt, then when was this thing made? It's around the time duration.
Right.
If it's around the time duration, so it may be logistics or something that he didn't get it from. Then he was
allowed him
to contest.
So now, to a large extent, from what you're saying,
they didn't also come if they did buy.
From what you're saying, they did not come
at all.
Even if they said the form was not given to them, at least they should have brought an evidence
to say
that transaction.
To say that look, the form.
That the transaction was made for the form and they paid. Okay, very well. That's on one hand, but then it still boils down to one thing: APC held Congress. Despite court orders.
Very legal Congress.
Very legal Congress. All right.
Internal mechanism in resolving that issue.
Right. That is...
Now, on the issue that you asked him about the APC disobeying court order, there is a reason why political parties have the department for their legal something, is to also advise. If a judgment doesn't sound well, it's not okay, they looked at it, it's not stopping what we are doing, you are obliged to go ahead. That's one. And I think when I saw this thing, what came to my mind again was, oh, so we are back here again. I thought Justice Kekereekun summoned judges from Rivers State. No, I'm not even talking about jurisdiction. I approach a court for an interim injunction. And I think part of the thing before a judge will grant an interim injunction is it injurious that if I don't take that decision now, 24 hours to report before his lordship an answer to some of these things. Without anything, you just grant. No, I think we should do better. These things exist more in River State. And it exists when you go to a state high court, River State. Why? And when I first saw it and read, I thought Justice Kekereekun called them. And I also want to think,
all.
It doesn't matter if you call 2 or 3 persons. I also thought that part of what was discussed would have been channeled to the Chief Justice of the state to say this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And I think an interim with him before we came to the studio. And the first thing I always look at when Abure, is it Abure's name now? The LP man.
The Labour Party.
Conducted an election. The first thing I asked
was
INEC present?
INEC was not present.
INEC was not present. Now, this is the issue.
But it got returned.
No, I'm coming. If no, it's still on
Supreme Court.
Yes. If INEC was there Was INEC not aware that there is a judgment that this Congress should not hold? Why did INEC go there to supervise that Congress? That is number one thing you must.
With respect to the APC.
Yes, APC. Why did INEC go there? It simply means that whatever judgment that has come from the court here in Port Harcourt is not binding on INEC.
It's all right.
So if it is not binding on INEC, can it be binding on APC as a body that registered under? Like he said, you don't have a registered political party in River State. It's only a branch they have in River State.
Okay.
So it is difficult for me, for the questions that you ask him, and I think those are smart decisions to take. Your legal department checks and say, no, this judgment is not binding on us. We go ahead.
All right.
By all indication, if you say the judgment is binding, well, they have gone ahead. Go back to the same court and say, your lordship, your judgment or your order rather was not obeyed. And then further they would appeal that decision. But I think that the River State Court here doesn't have that jurisdiction to so do.
Very well, we'll move on to the next story. Daniel, I'll remind you of some of the things you said here. That was why I had to really ask you for clarification.
No problem.
Convener of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Chief Edwin Clark, has insisted that the former Speaker of the River State House of Assembly, Martins Amehule, and 27 other pro-Wike lawmakers have lost their seats in the House of Assembly due to their defection to the ruling All Progressive Congress. In a statement released on Monday, the elder statesman argued that the lawmakers had committed perjury by claiming to be members of the People's Democratic Party in one court document and denying their defection in a separate document. He explained that following the lawmakers' defection on December 11, 2023, Amehule and the 27 others failed to declare their defection to Justice Omotosho in a suit against the leadership of the National Assembly. This action, Clark said, caused their suit in the court to die a natural death from that date until today. The lawmakers later instituted another case against the Independent National Electoral Commission and other bodies before Justice Donatus Okorowo on December 13, 2024, where they admitted in paragraph 9 that they defected to the APC because of problems or various disagreements in the PDP. Clark argued that due to the conflicting positions in the separate suits, the lawmakers had committed perjury and had thus lost their seats in the River State House of Assembly. Clark also alleged that the FCT minister and the lawmakers were doing everything possible to undermine River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, adding that President Tinubu had failed to call Wike to order. He criticized Wike for having no respect for the Constitution, stating that Nigerians would one day ask the president why he allowed the minister to breach the Constitution on several occasions. Let me start with you, Daniel. Now, a very clear question, very straight question with regards to the Constitution in the matter of defection. Does perjury constitute in what the Constitution has lined out?
No, it's not part of it.
Does it constitute to, or does it amount to defection?
No.
All right, go ahead.
First, Chief Edwin Clark is supposed to be a respected elder, but unfortunately, he had taken a position long before today. And he's one of those elders who do not allow the peace. No court that has summoned him. There is, I can't find it.
Has he been responded to any of the matters?
No, you see, that's why I'm saying, because he might have some information that we might probably not have as to how the FCT minister had disobeyed the Constitution, and that one day people will ask the president how he allowed that to happen. Now, having said that, I think that the former governor, I'm not speaking for him, has a right of who to support and who not to support. He's a son of this state. He's an ex-governor here. He's a member of the PDP. Probably something might happen tomorrow, but he has been a member of the PDP. And so there is a crisis we must all agree there is a crisis. Legal crisis, political crisis, disagreement in any way. And it's legitimate. Those things are legitimate. It's normal. I said it here the other time. Normal in human interactions that I would disagree with you and come to agree again. We have seen disagreement between former President Obasanjo and Atiku, and they still came back again. Even in the 2019 general election, Obasanjo supported the same Atiku he wrote disdains things about that I disagree with. And so, as an elder statesman, like in my place they say that what the elders sit down saying, if they say if you like climb an Iroko tree, you won't see it. And I think that at this stage in life, we should begin to draw from the wisdom of his experience in life. Who is saying that a clerk cannot call Wike and call Fubara to order? Why? He now lacked the legitimacy to do that. Because when the crisis started, he took a position and ran with that position, not minding whether it was correct or not correct. It was an Ijo agenda to him. And so because Fubara is an Ijo person. And let us also not forget, I do not know Fubara anywhere. I have never heard of him. We must see, a time will come in life where certain things must be told to some persons. I have never heard of him. In Rivers, I have never. Probably because I am not too close to civil servants. And in terms of, I have never heard. The first time I heard about him was when EFCC declared him wanted. And because I know that some media houses will call me, I went quickly, I was searching. Who is this man? And I said, he's a Accountant General of
Rivers State.
Rivers State. And I was digging, I saw some things. Oh, he's in civil service. Wike promoted him and all. Where was Clark?
When those promotions were happening.
In the movement of that man in life. That's why I said, at this stage, we ought to be drawing from the wealth of his own experience in life. Because it is
the Pan-Deaf Reconciliation Committee that was set up. That was sometime...
the truth is, he would not
roughly a month ago in October.
Wike would not come.
And till now, we've not heard any feedback on that Reconciliation Committee.
See, perception. That's why when we talk about the tripartite something, perception is real. If I perceive that going to this man will not get, I won't go there.
You're right.
I won't go. So the perception that Pandef has created is in the pocket of Chief Edwin Clark. They do what he wants them to do.
All right, very well. Chizi, Daniel has said a lot about one of the things that stood out that he said was that Chief Edwin Clark gave Rivers crisis an ethnic coloration. But I want to hear what you have to say to this story.
You know, I think I will go to court against you, so you don't bring me and Daniel together. Because
why?
Because if he talks, that's just... Because, if you meet people who see something from the objective stand, you begin to speak, whether you do it yourself or not. I was going to say that there was this conference I went, and Edwin Clark was there as our father, and he made a statement, and I was going to speak as a younger one. That was about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I was going to speak as a younger one. He made a declaration for him. He said, I went there. And I said, sir, with all due respect, sir, the problem we're having in this society is lack of fathers. The problem we're having is lack. What you see, gangsterism, whatever you see in this is purely for lack of fathers. And fathers are not just because you are old. With all due respect, fathers are not just because you are old. Fathers is just because, there's somebody in my village, call him Uncle Blessing. He's just there. Uncle Blessing, I'm sure that financially he may not be doing well, but he's so respected. I was shocked that we were going to do a 65th birthday for Uncle Blessing. I said, God, 65. I almost thought Uncle Blessing was 165, honestly. Because we respect him, because Uncle Blessing will never take side on something. We just tell you this is, and if Uncle Blessing tells you this is what you have done, you will go home. He has taken the role of a father. So I told you that the problem we have in Niger Delta is that we lack fathers. We lack people who can run to. Look, I think that Pa Edwin Clark and his people should be ashamed that the rivers crisis came to the extent that we have to run to the president. That's the first instance. Sir Peter Odele was there. All of them, they came back to take side. Meanwhile, for instance, like Odele, we will say, my leader. So Odele was supposed to invite Fobra, Edwin Clark, all of them come together and say, all of you come. What is that? Stop this. You do this. But no. Before you know it, check the history of Edwin Clark. For instance, check whether he was in good times with the former governor of Delta State. Check. You know why? He is not a Joe. If you are not a Joe, Edwin Clark will not support you. And if you're also a Joe, and I tell you that during the election, I'm saying it before, that during the election, it knows those who are Niger Delta, we have to take it. Throughout the period of that, Jonathan, he was staying in Nikon Hilton. He was not staying in Delta. Hilton. That was where Edwin Clark was staying. He married one small girl, and then that's where he stayed as a father. And then throughout that, he said, no, we must do this, we must do that. But just 2 months after Jonathan lost the election, Edwin Clark was also talking with Buhari.
That he was against.
That he was against.
So now from what you have...
So he is Ajib, any government in power.
Are you saying that he's an opportunist, like he takes up...
I use the word Ajib, any government in power.
Any government in power.
That's so. It's an opportunity. He wants to take opportunity to get what he wants to get. That's all I can do, because his university was supposed to be commissioned, because he had a university that he wanted Buhari to. That's all. Because look at it. I thought that as at that time he would have stood to say, no, this government, I wasn't going to talk to this government because of what they did to my son. It was a son indeed.
Good luck, Jonathan.
Good luck, Jonathan. Or what happened? What did Edwin Clark do? So we know all of these things. You know, sometimes somebody should stay. That just now he's remembering that to tell us that he is the one who will tell us who is now a lawmaker or not lawmaker. When Omeha was governor, Edwin Clark criticized Omeha because he wanted a German. What is that? It shouldn't come to divide River State. Well,
is Edwin Clark from River State?
No, Edwin Clark is from, I don't know, Delta.
It's from Delta.
So in the first instance, there is no locus for the...
No locus for him. We don't listen to him. I don't know why we are saying that.
I want to understand something. Going by the level of his involvement in River State's crisis, there is no locus, because one, he's not from River State.
He doesn't even know who.
Did he marry into River State?
No.
Did not marry into River State.
Does not stay in River State.
Does not stay in River State. So the only link he has to this is that Governor Sim Fubara is from the Ejo extraction. And so for Edwin Clark, it's a war against the Ejo people.
All. That's all.
But then the FCT minister, like Daniel Momo, when he was speaking, promoted actually the governor actually grew on the laps of the FCT minister. And the FCT minister and the query man made the Ijaw man a governor. And then this issue that happened, you were expecting, or both of you are expecting, that Edwin Clark should have played the fatherly role.
Let me say this just a little bit.
Okay, very quickly.
There is this thing that's always ascribed to Wike, where he's
Chief is not from River State. No, there is this close affinity in Niger Delta.
Okay.
About from Bayelsa to Delta, there's this affinity.
Well, I have not seen any Rivers person being so involved in Bayelsa politics being involved in... Okay,
usually, even under this Kayama declaration of the Ijaw nation, you have even Ijaw from...
they're all united.
Ondo States.
Okay.
Still come. So there is this close affinity.
Okay, they have.
That they do
enjoy,
things together. That sometimes you hardly even know whether this man is from Delta State or this man is from Bayelsa. Okay. That affinity is always there.
All right. That explains it to a large extent. So now moving forward Daniel, you have said perjury does not amount to...
It's not there.
Defection. So whatever it is Sir Edwin Clark is peddling right now with regards to the lawmakers having vacated their seats, and he's basing his argument on perjury.
No, for me, because my argument here is that as of today, I recognize them as still But I believe that they have been, by this man, what's his name now? The former Edison.
Edison.
Yes, has declared a seat vacant.